In this video, we'll be reviewing what ClickUp Dashboards are, how you can use them, what kind of information we can see in those dashboards, and how can you create a dashboard inside your ClickUp workspace. So let's dive into this. The easiest way for us to understand what ClickUp Dashboards really are and what functionalities do we have inside those dashboards is to create one right now. So let's dive into our ClickUp account and see how do we create a new dashboard. We're gonna log into our ClickUp, and as soon as you open your home tab or whatever page you're in, you need to open your sidebar. So if you don't see the sidebar, you need to click on this little icon at the top left corner of the screen over here. And then on the left hand side on this sidebar menu, you will see the dashboards part of the menu. So you need to click on that. Now, most likely you don't have any dashboards created here yet. If you've created dashboards previously, you will see all of them in here as a list. I don't have any. I'm going to create one right now. Just for simplicity, for us to see how that works, I'm going to click on Simple Dashboard. This is the template that ClickUp going to generate for my dashboard, and I'm going to select the dashboards in ClickUp list from where the information is going to be taken. Now, again, if you're using dashboards to show information about something else inside your ClickUp account, let's say in this case I'm showing information about the project, but in the next dashboard I want information about a different type of tasks that I'm storing inside ClickUp, you just need to select a different location from where that data is pulled from. So as you can see, the dashboard is now ready. Again, this is the ClickUp made dashboard, so it might not be exactly what we're looking for, but it gives us a very good understanding of what ClickUp dashboards are capable of. First of all, you can see at the top left corner here the number statistics, right? So this gives us the number of tasks which are unassigned, the number of tasks which are in progress, the number of tasks which are completed. Again, we obviously can modify this, and we're going to dive into this later in this video, but for now we know that ClickUp gives us some statistics about the number of tasks, whether it's in a status in a specific custom field. We can obviously filter them, but again, this is the number part of the dashboard, so you can calculate different things in here. The other part is you can see the workload by status, total tasks by assignees, and tasks by assignee here. Again, this shows us simply different graphs or gives us different information broken down by different graphs. So you can see the pie chart over here. This is a different type of chart, and workload by status is a different type of chart as well. Again, ClickUp gives us a bunch of options for creating those custom charts. We're going to see and look a little bit deeper into how to create them and what are the options just in a second. All right, but now as we understand, we can show some type of numbers in our dashboards, right? We can calculate things. We can also show data in a way of charts and graphs. What also ClickUp gives us here as a part of the templated dashboard is it shows us list view, right? So it gives us tasks due this week or overdue, so we do not miss the deadline. So again, it might be a very nice part of the dashboard if you want to use it for your project management purposes. Here on the right hand side, you can see the latest activity is also one of the cards that we can add to the dashboard. And it gives us basically all the updates which are part of that location that we selected from the very beginning, and allows us to track what is going on inside that specific location, whether it's tracking tasks for a project or tracking tasks from internal initiatives. Again, this will give us a breakdown of what's going on inside ClickUp. Now, as we reviewed all these things, and again, there is more, the simple description of the ClickUp dashboard is just a different way of showing data, not looking at the data in your list view or your board view inside a specific list or a folder, but actually bringing data from multiple sources inside ClickUp and showing it all in a single dashboard. And you can also modify the way those dashboards look, showing data in numbers, in charts, in list views. So again, this gives you a little bit more flexibility to showing different data points inside the same or on the same page, so that you can whether share it with your client, you can share it with your team members, you can use it as a presentation. There are different ways to use this information, but again, the main thing is consolidating information in the single page. So that's basically what ClickUp Dashboard is. As we understood what ClickUp Dashboard is and what it looks like or what capabilities it gives us, let's see how can we create a new ClickUp dashboard. In order to create a new ClickUp dashboard, you need to open that dashboard part of the menu of the sidebar that I showed you previously by clicking the close or open sidebar here on the left hand side. You can create dashboards just as we did right now by clicking the new dashboard icon over here, and then it's going to ask you about the templates that you want to use, if you want to use a template or not, and then you can click on start from scratch or select the template. It's going to create that dashboard. Now, this is the first way of creating dashboard. This way, the dashboard is not going to be linked to any list, folder, or task inside your ClickUp account, it's going to have the location as empty, and most likely that dashboard is going to be created as private dashboard. So just in case you're creating it from here, make sure you're sharing it with other people so they can also see that dashboard inside their ClickUp account. Now, the other way to create that dashboard is by opening a folder or a list view and clicking and creating the dashboard as part of the view for the folder or the list. So you can go to the either folder or a list over here. I'm going to use the list in this example, and I'm going to click on plus view, so add new view, and here I will click on the dashboard. Now this is going to do exactly the same thing. It's going to prompt you if you want to use any of the templates. Let's say I want to use a project management template here, and it's going to put together a dashboard in here. As you can see, the dashboard is pretty much looks the same, gives us a bunch of numbers, a bunch of charts over here in the list view down here. But now as we go back to our primary location, which is in the sidebar, you click on dashboard and we'll look at the new dashboard that we created. You can see that location for that dashboard says dashboards in ClickUp, which is our list where we created that dashboard. So meaning that the dashboard is located under the list. So we can even rename it and say dashboard as a view. Perfect. So these two dashboards were created as just simple dashboards, so they are not part of any location. Our dashboard as a view is part of our list location. Now that's going to be important because depending on where you create those dashboards, they will be accessible by people who have access to those locations. So let's say if my team members have access to this list of dashboards in ClickUp, they'll be able to go and look at this dashboard as part of the view. But if I create a dashboard inside the dashboard sidebar menu and I don't make this dashboard public, they will not be able to see that dashboard, even if I consume or take the data from my dashboards in ClickUp list. Now, another part of how you can create dashboards is by creating them as you do with lists. So by clicking the plus button in your folder, and you can just go here and it says dashboard. So you can click on the dashboard. It will show you on the sidebar, just as you see your list, it will also show your dashboard. So I'm going to rename it and I'm going to name it like dashboard as a list, right? As part of the folder. Now you can create the dashboard as part of the space as well. So depending on which level you choose, again, that's going to also decide or affect what people have access to those dashboards. But again, in this example, let me just say client portal, and I'm going to select the location for the dashboard. And this is what it generates for me as the automated dashboard or the templated dashboard that ClickUp presents. Now, as we go back to our dashboards, we can see now the dashboard as a list part of the folder. So this is where it is located. And again, the only reason why you might want to create it as part of the folder, not as a list or inside the dashboard sidebar menu, is just because of whom do you want to access that specific dashboard and who needs to consume that information from the dashboard. So again, that's pretty important step here of how you create it and what people can access information within that dashboard. All right, so now as we figured out how to create the dashboards, where to find them, let's go ahead and create a new dashboard from scratch to see what kind of cards and how can we present that information that we pull from our ClickUp account inside the dashboard. So I'm going to go navigate back to the dashboards in my sidebar over here. I'm going to open one of the dashboards that I created in here, and I'm going to say dashboard custom. Perfect. So we're going to click on start from scratch. Again, as I showed you, these are the templates that ClickUp gives us, and they might not be the best option. You can use them just to see what kind of cards ClickUp uses or what kind of information ClickUp allows you to show inside the dashboard, or give you a couple of ideas, but they're not best when you're building the dashboard for a specific use case inside your company. So I'm going to start this dashboard from scratch. As soon as I click that, it gives me a list of all the cards. Now, what card is? Card is basically a single data point that shows inside your dashboard. It can be either a data point or it can be a graph combining multiple data points in it, but it's just a way of showing data. So it's some sort of like a view inside ClickUp of how you can see the tasks inside your ClickUp account, inside the list or folders. The same works with the cards. It's just a way to show that data. Now, as we go and look through these cards over here, it's important to notice a couple of different types of ways that you can show information in the dashboard. The first one, as you can see over here, is the first. I'm going to click from the featured ones. I'm going to click to the custom because it gives us most flexibility to showing the data we want. We can see the first type is the charts. The charts here is the line chart, the bar chart, the pie chart, and the battery chart. Now, all these things can help you to show information in different ways. You might want to play with them. I'm going to add one of the bar charts right now. Let's say I'm going to create a bar chart. If you click on the chart, it's going to give you a bunch of settings in here. So you can select, first of all, the location, which means the data source, from where the data is coming from. And it's extremely important to understand that when you select this location, you also have to keep in mind what types of custom fields do you have in there, what people have access to this location so they can actually see the data in this dashboard, because it's very important. If they don't have access to the data source that you are sharing in the dashboard, your users or guests inside your ClickUp account won't be able to see the data in the dashboard. So important to understand that. Now, as you can see, there are different options for displaying data. You can show the average line, let's say turn it on. You can show the legend just to describe what those axes mean. I'm gonna say for x-axis, which is gonna be this axis over here, let's say measure the drop down. So you can use it, as you can see, it shows me the status, which is the initial option, but I can also select the drop down or any custom field that I track inside my task. So I will say, let me say project type. I'm going to show all values. I don't need to sort this. And then the y-axis, which is going to be this axis over here. Let me see the number of tasks. So we're going to see the number of tasks grouped by the project type. So if I click on add card, it's going to create that card inside the dashboard. Important thing to mention here as well, which you're going to see in every single card you add inside the dashboard, are the filters. You can show closed tasks. So again, in this case, I'm going to click that because I have some of the tasks closed or in the completed status. You can also show archive, just in case the way you manage your tasks or manage your data inside ClickUp is as soon as you complete the task or the project, you archive that task and you still want to pull information from those tasks. So it's important to mention this button over here. And then obviously you can also filter your tasks. Let's say you have a lot of information in a single list and you decide to show only information for a specific SME. In this case, you can filter those tasks and say, show me only information that you grab from the tasks which are assigned to this person, let's say to me. You can also select the me mode, which will dynamically decide which person is looking at the dashboard and show the information specific to them. Can be pretty powerful when you want to build like a personalized dashboard for your team members for a specific project, let's say. For now, I'm going to remove all the filters. And by the way, with filters, you can also add nested filters. So it's not only one condition, single condition of like, if this is the condition, then show me the task. You can also do if this is the condition and this is the condition, or if this is the condition or this happens, then show me this task. Okay, for now, I'm going to skip the filters just for simplicity purposes. And I'm going to click on add the card. Now, as it adds the card, you can see now it's broken down as we wanted. Our number of tasks, which is going to be the y-axis, and our x-axis going to show the project type, and it's broken down how many tasks do we have per each project type. So it shows also the legend of the chart that we marked over there. You can see the client project, internal R&D process improvement, and it shows us the average line, which is red line over here. Now, as soon as you added the card, you can go back and you can update all those settings. So you can click on the setting and you can change the data source. You can also update and, for example, remove the show average, and I'm going to say it automatically saves. You can see that line disappeared. You can also add filters over here or sorting functions in here. So sorted by alphabetical, values, manual, whatever you decide in here. Now, another cool component of the dashboards, as we added the first chart, is that you can change the side of this card. So as we're going to create more and more cards in here, you will see that there will be less space on the dashboards, and we might want to rearrange this card. So you can just drag and drop. You can drag and drop this cards, any card that you create on the dashboards, by just simply changing the size of the dashboard, and you can see the data adjusts to the size of the card. So I'm going to make it like this. Okay, so this looks nice and clean. We can see all the data, and we're going to go back to adding the next card. Now we're going to switch to custom one more time. So the first 4 parts is the chart, which we just added here. If you go to the pie chart, most likely the same settings. This doesn't have 2 axes, it just have one type of data it shows, but it's going to have the same type of settings as we reviewed previously. Now, as we move on to the next part or the next type of cards that you have in dashboards is the calculation. So this is the numbers that you show on your dashboards. Those numbers can show different things. If you click on this card, you'll be able, first of all, again, we're selecting the data source, making sure that all the people who need to see that information have to actually have access to that data source. And we're going to measure, what do we measure? We can measure different types of things. We can measure the sprint points, the task count, the time estimated, the time track, and most importantly, we can also measure the custom fields. So whenever you're creating custom fields inside your ClickUp account, you can also think ahead of time and think, what information do I want to see in my future dashboard? In this case, we can see the budget. For example, I can see the measure the budget, and the budget is going to be, let's say, the average budget of all the projects that I have in ClickUp. I'm gonna have this in dollars. You can also add euros, pounds, percentages. You can even add custom unit of measurement, right? You can put, let's say, projects in here. It's gonna say projects. In this case, I'm gonna use dollars. The position, let's say it's gonna be left. It's just how it's positioned when you add that card to the dashboard. You're gonna see this in a second. And then we have the same filter options here down below as we saw with the chart. So I'm gonna add the card. Perfect. So it shows me this average budget of the project. What you can also do, again, we said we can adjust the size of this. So I'm gonna adjust the size. I'm gonna put it right over here. I'm gonna make it look nice, a little bit bigger. What I can also do is I can add a filter, and I can say I only want to see projects for a specific department. So let's say I want to see projects that relate to operations. So I'm gonna click on that. It's gonna recalculate the options, and I can just say operations project budget. No, actually, I think we selected average budget. All right, so now as we added this part, we can duplicate actually this card, and we can add, let's say, the average budget for our sales team, sales project average, and I can go to my settings or filters over here, and I can change, remove operations, add sales, and it's gonna calculate it to 14,450. This is how the cards that show numbers work inside our dashboard. Let's go and click on add card one more time. We're gonna one more time switch to custom. And here the third type of the cards that we have inside ClickUp Dashboards is going to be portfolio, notes, discussions, and search. So this do not necessarily show you a data as a chart or as a number, but it shows you in a way that you're used to inside ClickUp. Portfolio simply shows you all the tasks or all the lists that you have inside a specific location. So for example, if you're managing single projects as separate lists inside your ClickUp, adding portfolio will show you, and by the way, folders as well, will show you the progress inside those lists, which basically is calculated by the number of tasks that is completed versus the number of tasks that exist in that list. And also it will break down every single list as a different part or the different item of your portfolio, showing you how many tasks are done, how many are due, and what's the overall progress of that specific portfolio item. You can also see the notes. The notes is simply a text box where you can add all the information related to the client. You can add different access information. You can add different notes that you discussed with your client, different priorities that you have for that specific project, so that everyone who looks at that dashboard can see information that you put together here in notes. Now, if we click one more time on add card, custom. The other two items that we have left here is discussions and search. Discussion is something that ClickUp added recently with their chat functionality. You can actually see it over here, so you can add and communicate inside the dashboard without going to your chats or communicating inside the tasks. Again, can become pretty powerful if you're using your dashboards as kind of the primary view for all the team members to look at the project information and project tasks. This way you don't need to create a separate chat group or communicate with people in their direct messages. You can communicate directly inside here. And the last part, which is the card, which is part of the custom cards, is the search. Now, what search does is allows you to search your specific location that is related to either your project or to your dashboard, right? Maybe you're creating dashboard for everything internal in your company. Then the location that you're selecting here is going to be the space, the folder, or the list where you collect information about all your internal things. So I'm going to create, again, select the list that I have. I can also select what that search functionality will be looking for, whether it's tasks, dashboards, lists, folders, forms, or spaces. Change different search parameters when it comes to tasks. You can select the assignee to whom it is assigned, and you also can enter the keyword. So basically the idea is you can type in, I want this search feature, search card, to find always the things that are related to the due date. So I'm going to add that card. I'm not sure if it's going to actually show you something. And it didn't find anything, meaning that I did not have anything inside my location that is related to this search, keyword search. Now, if I change that to my, let's say, OKR, perfect. It just found the task that we created for the project. And again, if I have more things that contain the OKR keyword, you're going to also find and put it in this list over here, so you can again keep track of all the documents related to a specific keyword, or maybe have a quick search and look for information, even though you can also use the search feature here at the top of your ClickUp account. All right, so as we covered all the custom elements of the dashboards, now you're ready to build your dashboard yourself. Now, I'll also mention that there are other parts of the dashboard that you can look into. I'm not gonna, again, spend hours diving into every single card that you have available here, but ClickUp also gives you functionality for tracking different information about your sprints, which again, sprint burnout, sprint burnup, sprint velocity, all this information can be found here, which basically are the same charts. They're just built for sprint and for agile approach. You also have the statuses, again, repeats the same custom cards that we just reviewed with you, which is charts and numbers, just again aligned or like more specific to the statuses use cases where you want to track what is the total time in your statuses, what is the status over time, what is the workload, what is the workload by status, all this kind of information. You have tags, the same absolutely thing. You have charts that are built specifically for tags, and as you create them, you'll see the same settings applicable to this card. The only thing is that they are grouped already by tags, so the information that you can change or the things that you can tweak inside this cards is slightly different and less flexible than if you were to use the custom cards here. The same applies to the assignees. You can see a couple of charts and the numbers. The same for priorities, time tracking. Last two things that I want to mention is the tables and the embeds and apps. The tables, what it does, it allows you to show not necessarily the data, but to show the tasks in the format that you're used to see inside your ClickUp lists or folders. What I mean by that is when you click on task list, it just gives you a list of tasks. So let me just select the location. For example, this, which is going to give me a list of all the tasks that I have inside my location. Over here, you can see the list is called Dashboards in ClickUp, gives me all the tasks. And what I can do, I can work from within this dashboard. I can open the task, I can update the information inside there. I can also change the due dates, the priorities. I can change the list view as if I were working from the actual list view inside my ClickUp account. I can show different custom fields in here. I can filter tasks. So again, this allows you to add more common view that we see in ClickUp to your dashboard. Now, if we go back to our tables view over here, you can see also the overdue tasks, the tasks due soon, the milestones, the completed report. So it's basically showing you a simple list view from ClickUp, just with different settings, with different grouping options and with different filters. So if you go for milestones, you're going to see that it's grouped by status, and there's also filters so that the task type is milestone. So technically you can set it up yourself, but ClickUp gives you that as a templated option inside the tables cards over here. Now down below you will see a bunch of other things that are actually nice to have. So what people have actually worked on, and to see what exactly how many hours they spend and what tasks they worked on, you can use this features or cards over here. This is the card for worked on, workspace points, close behind, activity view. Again, you can play with them, and those things are specific to, you can see over here, the view that shows all the people inside the workspace and also the inbox unread notifications, total overdue tasks, and you can modify again what people you show inside this specific card and what location this data is pulled from. And the last component of the dashboard. Now, this is the thing that is a little bit more advanced and you might not need it inside your first dashboards, but if you want to add some sort of a view or information from a different platform, let's say you want to embed your website or a specific online form that is not hosted inside ClickUp, you can do that by using the embeds and the app. Now here you can see you can create Google Docs, Google Sheets, so there is some native integration or embed functionalities that you can use. You can even add Figma, Twitter, Typeform, Miro. So again, all these things will just be part of the dashboard. And what I mean by that, if we use a custom ad over here, I need to embed the link. So I'm going to use the HTTPS and I'm going to add just my website over here, add the card. What it does is it just simply, instead of you opening a new tab and typing in the URL address to see something, it simply gives you the ability to see that web page from within the dashboard. Again, if you have a Miro board, that's going to be the Miro board right here. You don't need to go open a new tab and log into your Miro. You can see it from this view as well. Just make sure that the URLs that you're pasting in here, and then let's say the Miro board or the Figma board, actually are public URLs, because otherwise your people will not, or other people who are using the dashboard will not be able to access this specific part of the dashboard. So again, be mindful of that and make sure if you're adding a form or some sort of a Miro board in here, that link is public and everyone on the internet technically can access that, so everyone from your dashboard can access it as well. All right, and the last component, now we've created the dashboard, we know where to find them, we know what the dashboard functionalities are and how we can show the data inside ClickUp Dashboards. Now it's time to share it with the world, to share it with your team, with your clients, with your customers, whoever you want to share it with, really. In order to share the dashboard, you need to open one of the dashboards. So you can do this by accessing the dashboard in the sidebar or in the dashboard menu, clicking on the three dots, sharing information. In here, when you open the dashboards, you can click on share at the top right corner. And here you will be able to share this dashboard with everyone inside your workspace. So this is the option number one. You can just click on this, share with everyone in this workspace, and it will add or give access to people who are part of the workspace for all the users that you have inside ClickUp. Another way, if you want to invite someone outside of your ClickUp user base, you can also add their email here. So if I type in my email in here, I can simply invite that person, and I can also add them as a guest, so they are free and I don't pay for them as part of my ClickUp account. The only trick here is if you invite any guests to see your dashboards, you need to make sure that they are also part of the list or folders from where you're pulling the information. Otherwise, if they don't have access to the underlying data sources, which is the list or folders from where the information is taken, they won't see this information in the dashboard. So be mindful of that and make sure that you give information to your guests to every single location from where the data is taken and shown in this dashboard. Now, what you can also do is in terms of exporting this dashboard for someone who is not using ClickUp. Again, there might be requests for if I can access this dashboard or see this information if I don't want to log into ClickUp, I don't want to be part of the ClickUp, or I want to create an account with ClickUp. You can export that as a PDF. So by clicking this button over here, you can download the PDF, or you can export the PDF to someone's email so that they receive this PDF and they can look at the data, let's say once every single week on Mondays. By the way, the export PDF is going to email it to your email, but if you want to send this to your client's email, you can use the schedule report feature over here. If you click on quick add, it's going to look the same way as the automation in ClickUp. It's going to say every weekly on Monday at 9 a.m. send this report or this PDF of the dashboard to this specific email. And again, it's going to keep sending that email until you turn this automation on. But it's a good way to keep your clients, customers, or anyone, any stakeholder who is outside of your ClickUp workspace up to date, so they can see the information without necessarily the ability to click on the tasks and see more detailed information. But if you show them some numbers, some charts, they'll be able to see that as part of the PDF. As we saw, ClickUp dashboards are pretty robust inside ClickUp. You can show data in different formats. We reviewed how to create dashboards, where to find them, what types of information you can put inside those dashboards, and how you can share them with other parts of your team and other stakeholders in your company. With all that said, I hope I had more time to put in even more details about the dashboards, because we can spend hours discussing all the different types of cards and all the intricacies about how to make dashboards work. But I hope this video gets you started on the dashboards, helps you create your first or your next dashboard, and help you report on the data that you have inside ClickUp and actually use that data to make better decisions in your business. I'll see you in the next video very, very soon.